Good day, everyone. So today, one of our topics is reason judgment. I've long said that one of the great benefits of education is that we learn to make the right decision at the right time and for the right reason. And how do we do that? We do that by acquiring the necessary knowledge and then utilizing that knowledge to make a better decision. There's all kinds of processes, dozens of processes and programs that you could follow that lead you to a structure, if you will, that leads you to make the right decision at the right time and for the right reason. I follow one called LFEOR. It's almost like an elephant, but LFEOR. And I created it, so it may not sound the best, but it's the one that I always use. The goal is, again, to make the best decision. So first is the L for LFEOR, which is to listen. It's the hardest thing to do, especially when you go to make a decision. You sometimes think you know all the answers. But you truly have to listen to what the issue is. If you don't listen, then you may be solving the wrong problem, which doesn't do you any good. The next is facts. After you know what the issue is, you need to gather the facts so that you can then make the right decision. Or at least have the basis. I call that the foundation. If you're building a home, it's the cement. So facts are what you rely upon. If it's a quantifiable problem, then if it's a numbers problem, then the facts are going to give you the conclusion. If it's a legal problem, it's either legal or not legal. The facts is the second most important. E, exposure. And I work in the government. And so for us, public perception and members of the public is a big issue. And so we typically look at our exposure. What could happen? How would the public interpret this action? So exposure can be quite significant. If you work in finances or if you work in a bank and something could go wrong in the bank, you look at, well, what's the exposure? How could that affect our customers? So that's LFE. O is options. Now we know what the issue is. We know what the facts are. We know what our exposure is. Well, what options do I have to solve the problems? Most people will tell you that decisions are better when you have more options. And so a decision maker is going to want you to tell them, okay, you can do A, B, C, and D. The ramifications of A are R. The ramifications of B are. The ramifications of C are. And then that gets to the R. So LFEOR. R is the recommendation. Depending on your position in the organization, the power you have, sometimes you never get to make the decision. So to think in judgment or reasoned decisions that you always make the decision is not necessarily appropriate. But what you often at least have the ability to do is make a recommendation. The more powerful and persuasive your argument is, sometimes your decision is going to become the one, or your recommendation is going to be the one that becomes the decision. But here you want to say, based on all of what I have heard, the L, all the facts that I gathered, the F, the exposure that I see for the issue, the E, and the options that I have provided you, along with our history of those options, my recommendation is B. So, one other point that I would make. No matter what process you follow, if you let your ego, your self-interest, your lack of self-confidence, all of these, what I call destructive emotions, come into the play when you're making a decision, it's going to be very difficult to make the right decision. So you do have to control those elements that affect one's decision making. You can't be egotistical about it. You can't lack confidence and overcompensate in the decision that you make. You can't be selfish because you're not going to make the right decision. You're going to make the decision that's best for you. Those are what I call some of the emotions. So follow LFEOR. Listen, facts, exposure, options, recommendations. More importantly, create your own. Create something that works for you. If this works for me, maybe something else will work for you. But the important part is to find a dedicated process that you follow in order to make a better decision. That's what education allows us to do. It provides us the knowledge to rely upon to make better decisions. It's up to us to follow a process to do that. Hope everybody has a great day. Always look forward to chatting with you. Take care.